Good morning. My name is Regina A. I'm the outgoing North Central Region Commander. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Town Hall meeting. We're pleased that you joined us today for this interactive event where you can ask the leaders on our panel questions. I would like to start by introducing our panel for today. First, Civil Air Patrol National Commander and Chief Executive Officer, Major General Mark Smith. Second, Civil Air Patrol Chief Operating Officer, Mr. John Salvador. Next, North Central Liaison Region Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Myers.
Good morning, everyone. Very happy to be here. Thank you.
Finally, incoming North Central Region Commander, Colonel John O'Neill.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here myself and looking forward to an exciting day.
Next, we have some rules of engagement to share with everyone. First, be patient. There are 900 or so people registered for the conference. We know you'll ask a lot of great questions. We'll try to get to as many as we can, but we might not be able to get to all of them. Second, be flexible. This is a live event, broadcast on the internet from locations all over the country. From bandwidth to technical problems, there's a lot that can go wrong. We'll do our best to make sure things go as smoothly as possible. Third, be inquisitive. A town hall meeting is only as good as its participants. Don't be shy about asking questions. We need your input. Fourth, respect is a core value. As volunteer professionals, it should always be evident in everything we do. So you might be asking yourself, how do I ask a question? Well, don't forget to tell us who you are. That's the first thing. Tell us your grade and tell us what unit you're from. We want to appreciate the geographic diversity in the audience and the experience levels of our attendees. Help us recognize you respectfully. Second, please tell us who you want to answer the question. This will help us with question flow and allow us to give the panelists a break in between questions. Finally, please put your questions in the Q&A box. That will help us get through them in a timely fashion. So, what does it look like when you put all that together? Here's an example for you. And to help us with the flow of the event, we'd like you to start putting questions in the Q&A box now. So, if you were saying to yourself earlier in the week, if I had the opportunity, I would ask, insert great question, now is your chance. Let's get started with some questions.
Okay, we got one question even before we started, and this question is for Colonel Myers. So this question is from Cadet Captain Nazario Maldonado from Great Lakes Region, Ohio. How could the change in operation evaluations at region level change training or event planning?
Well, good morning, and thank you for that question, and thank you for the initiative from the cadets. That's where we probably should have looked for it, and that's where it came from. So thank you for that. So how could the change in op evals at the region level change training or event planning? Well, there are a couple of ways that stand out to me. First of all, in general, knowing the test format, that can shape how we study. And so when the format is a multi-wing, multi-region type event, there are two things that kind of stick out to me. First of all is scope, and second of all is coordination. So for scope, I'm thinking of things like the number of people participating, the amount of resources, and the duration of the effort. And that can be fairly large given some of the scenarios that they're talking about. And the second, with coordination, you're looking at coordination between squadrons within a wing, coordination at the wing level, and then also coordination intra-region. Now, because there's an effort to kind of keep it real, we're not going to probably see training towards an alien invasion or a hurricane in North Central. That's probably not going to be how it goes. So I would imagine that a good starting point may be trying to train toward how you used your resources in the past, or how a wing or region used their resources in the past for an actual event. So, for example, I'll try to wrap it up here, but for example, two things that stand out to me for a North Central region combined with Great Lakes region effort may be, say, the New Madrid seismic zone response or widespread flooding, typically from a spring melt-off, but not necessarily so. So in those cases, you have different approaches as well. Where the New Madrid seismic zone, you have a very focused impact area that could impact one of our wings and two of their wings. So maybe a staging type approach where there's resources flowing in and out and a consistent and constant tasking. Whereas with a widespread effort like flooding, you could have localized efforts all over both regions as the Missouri and Minnesota watershed areas, and even some of the more minor rivers, if they wanted to incorporate the Red, the Platte, the Kansas, impacting almost every state in our region, and then the Ohio River Valley across Great Lakes, but also some other rivers that may impact them as well. So there could be localized efforts all over both regions with that, or it could be a focused one. So I would look at what the wings, what the real world events have been that impacted the wings, and start with training there. And really the coordination is going to be the big portion as we move forward to try to emphasize operating as one CAP. Okay,
thank you, Colonel Myers. The next question is for General Smith, and the question is from First Lieutenant Coyne from North Central Region, Iowa, 041. The National Commander's briefing today emphasized developing a culture of innovation. For example, a radar analysis team and cell phone forensics team. The South Dakota Commander mentioned deploying live mission air and ground vehicle tracking technologies. There are other examples. I have two related questions. First, how do other squadrons get access and training to these nationally recognized initiatives? Second, what are the specific CAP authorized steps by which CAP leadership helps form or recognize teams able and interested to turn ideas into tests, and who within CAP helps teams transform tests into broadly available capabilities?
Well, good morning, and thanks for the question. There was a whole lot of questions that were boiled into that. I'd like to answer it in general, all together, because it's a work in progress. I've been beating the drum on initiatives since late this last calendar year, and then all of a sudden with COVID-19, innovation has been thrust upon us, and I've been very impressed and very pleased with the spirit of innovation that our members as well as our paid staff have embraced innovative measures by which to be able to continue to get the job done. From my perspective, it's important for us to be a vibrant, relevant, healthy organization in the future, that we embrace a culture of innovation. And that's not just top-down driven innovation, the types of things that we've been working at the national level, but also the ability to bubble up ideas that are going to be keepers and help us to improve our organization and how we do things, which is the crux of the questions I believe that you're posing. Now, we're in the relatively early stages for how do you do that? And the how you do that has been spearheaded by the IT community on the volunteer side of the house, embraced by our national staff's IT leadership. And there's an initiative that was developed by the technical advisory group within the IT community, and these are composed of volunteers. And the initiative that they came up with is called Hubcap, small HUB, capital CAP. And it's the means by which that IT folks from across the organization can, in an open forum, share their ideas and their practices on how to be able to get the job done better. And so it's great from a cross-tell perspective for folks to be able to learn from each other. And also it's the opportunity for those of us at a higher echelon to be able to go, you know what? That is a really good idea. We're going to cherry pick that out. We're going to put it to use to the benefit of the whole organization. Now, that's been kind of our beta test. It was rolled out a few months ago. We want to showcase it and really showcase and highlight innovation at the upcoming virtual national conference. We believe that that basic construct that's being put into practice for IT can be broadened to where any functional area that you're looking at, whether it's how you do aerospace education, how you do mission accomplishment, back to the questions that you posed, how do you do any aspect of our business of Civil Air Patrol and mission accomplishment can be publicly and openly shared and vetted, and we can seize those bright ideas and put them to use. We're in the early stages. I think that you are probably looking for more specific answers, but realize that we're in the early stages of this for prototyping the architecture, the approach for how we can do that. And we think that it has great promise to open that up more broadly for all areas. So stand by for news as we develop that capability, and please be a part of our national conference to where we can talk about that in greater detail and just beat the drum on the amazing innovation that you all are already doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General Smith. All right, the next question is going to be going to Colonel A. And this is coming from the Minnesota Wing Command NCO, Senior Master Sergeant Vanderhoof. The question is, has senior CAP leadership seen benefits as a result of the reintroduced NCO program?
Great question. So thank you, Senior Vanderhoof. Absolutely. There's a partnership that exists between leaders and NCOs that serve with them at every echelon. So NCOs bring great strength to Civil Air Patrol and an amazing set of skills and experiences that can help our members grow. In turn, those NCOs have the opportunity to be inspired by a new group of volunteers who want to serve their community, state, and nation in a different way, maybe than folks they've worked with in the past. So I would say NCOs are invaluable partners in leading our squadrons, groups, wings, and regions. They set a wonderful example. So I, as a region commander, I would say absolutely. We have seen some great benefits of a reinvigorated non-commissioned officers program.
Okay, thank you, Colonel A. The next question is for Colonel O'Neill, and this is coming from Major Zerales from Minnesota 030. In the past couple years, there was a rumor possible RPA escort mission opportunities at Grand Forks Air Force Base for Minnesota wing pilots. Is there any validity or potential for this mission? You're muted.
I'm not anymore. Okay, thank you. So as I understand it, the original RPA mission was just a stopgap because the FAA had certain requirements for the Air Force and any UAS flying through the airspace. But I believe the Air Force has worked that situation out. So our escort mission there is no longer required. The Air Force now has that capability. However, we are still looking at the potential to assist those areas. So specifically, no, but we are still looking at it.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. The next question is for Mr. Salvador. How many people are on the national staff, and how do CAP members apply to be on the national staff? And then can cadets serve on the national staff?
Well, great. Can you hear me? Good morning. That's a great question. Thanks for submitting it. So we currently have 189 members on the national staff. And I will tell you from my role as the chief of the national staff, whether it be paid or volunteer, that we would not be able to do our job for our 66,000 members without each of those members of the national staff. Most of them are additional duty in addition to what they're doing at their unit, wing, or region, and they're doing a phenomenal job. We have a process for people to be able to apply. If you go to the web and you Google volunteer national staff vacancies, there are currently 6 positions open right now. Some of them are related to comm, some of them are related to fundraising, and a few are related to government relations. So those are available right now. Whoever applies for those positions, Colonel Arlinda Bailey, who is our National Executive Officer, she will coordinate approval from the unit commander, the wing commander, and the region commander before they'll be allowed to serve on the national staff. But, and then as far as cadets go, we have 8 outstanding cadets that are currently serving on the national staff. 4 of them are serving in the small UAS program, helping us to move that forward. 2 are serving in the comm program, and 2 are on our National Cadet Advisory Council. So thanks again for that question. Again, the national staff is outstanding, and we encourage you, as you move through your careers in CAP, to take a look at those opportunities on the national staff page and apply for them when they come open. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salvador. Okay, the next question is for General Smith, and this is coming from Oklahoma Wing Second Lieutenant Holzclaw. When do you think we will be flying again on local training missions?
Well, that's thanks for asking that question. The regeneration plan that we have rolled out across Civil Air Patrol is mirrors the 3-phase program that was developed by the CDC and the White House task force on COVID-19. The individual who has really helped to shape this is Lieutenant Colonel Tom Janisco, who is a volunteer in Civil Air Patrol. He is also a commander, the equivalent of a lieutenant colonel in the Department of Health Services, I believe it is. His day job is Surgeon General of the Army Corps of Engineers, and he's attached to the White House Task Force on COVID-19. So that's just an example of the amazing volunteers that we have in CAP. He has helped us to shape this, but we took the 3-phased approach at the federal level and we CAP-ized it. And one of the key features is that it's important from my perspective that it's pushed down to the wing level to put together the plan on how a wing graduates from where we currently are, essentially phase 0 up to phase 1, 2, and 3. Phase 0, as you're aware of, is mission essential flying is all. When we get to phase 1, now we have the opportunity to get air crews together for doing air crew training, mission training, proficiency, and those types of things. So it's going to be based on a state-to-state level, wing-to-wing level. Your wing commander will have a team put together that she or he will submit to the national level, because that's where the experts are, and the experts will work with the wings to do any tweaking that may need to happen, and approved. Once it's approved and your wing goes green, you're able to execute going from phase 0 to phase 1. Metrics that go along with that, go to the website at the top, the COVID-19, hit that link. All the information is on there to include the regeneration plan, and I would recommend to you a 10-minute PowerPoint slide narrated by Lieutenant Colonel Janisco that gives you the basics for how that process works. Thanks for asking.
All right, thank you. The next question is going to be for Colonel O'Neill, and this is coming from North Central Region Lieutenant Colonel Merrick. How do you see the role of the region staff in any given directorate as a layer between national and the wings? And then you need to unmute, please.
And the thing is, I've been doing this all week. I should know better. Our job is to transition the intentions and the missions of Civil Air Patrol down to the wings and assist the wings in getting those missions accomplished. So primarily, our job is to assist the wings to help their units further down the road. So that's what our job is to help our members get the job done.
Okay, thank you. The next question is going to be going to Colonel A. And this is coming from, let's see, Flight Officer Smith from Kansas 003. What are the main differences you see with the advent of Volunteer University, and what advantages will it provide over the old system of professional development?
Great question. Thank you, Flight Officer Smith. So I guess the biggest difference is we have gone from week-long or weekend block courses, and we've broken things down into smaller bites. So that's a huge advantage because it allows us to do several things. First, it provides better access. We have a more flexible program that members can decide to take advantage of online, on site, or in a blended way. And so you can also get more training locally. So our hope is that by making training more available, people will take advantage of it earlier in their careers. It's also more applicable to what people do at every echelon of the organization. So we designed each level of the program with Volunteer U to speak to the skills that people need at the squadron level as a leader, at the wing level, at the group level, or at the region or national level. So we'll be developing those skills for service at those specific levels. And a lot of the assignments pertain to things you do at those specific levels. Finally, it has some continuous improvement capabilities built in so that we can continue to evolve the content to meet the needs of the stakeholders who will be consuming it. And finally, it better values what volunteers bring to Civil Air Patrol, and that's an important aspect of it. So just to recap, the biggest advantages would be access, flexibility, applicability, continuous improvement, and better valuing what volunteers bring to Civil Air Patrol. Thanks for the good question.
All right, thank you. All right, the next question is for General Smith. When you think of North Central Region, what is one area or thing in which you believe we excel, and what one area or thing do you see as an opportunity for us to improve?
I have to limit it to just one thing that I can brag about for North Central Region. That's just not fair. But I guess for the interest of time, I should hold it down to just one thing anyway. So it's a target-rich environment. There's a lot of things I could talk about. I'll choose just one thing, and that is mentorship. Your region and your region leadership really displays an amazing aptitude for effective mentorship of folks within your organization and more broadly across the organization as well. I am a huge believer in the power of mentorship. You know, there's so often in CAP, how many of us have NCAP have been assigned a new job and said, hey, go figure it out. There's the rig type of thing. So ranging from being a brand new cadet and not knowing how in the world do you do this stuff, having a seasoned cadet assigned to her or him, someone who's trying to navigate the process for being a mission pilot, someone who's got a new job, someone who's working on the professional development side, someone who's a new commander at whatever echelon, your willingness to be able to personally invest in the time, your time into the care and feeding and the advancement and the success of your people, I think is a powerful thing. You have hit above your weight class, to use an analogy there, in the power that you have and your effectiveness as mentors. And I'm so pleased with that. As far as an opportunity to improve on, that's a hard one to figure out. Because when I look at North Central region, and I'm not just saying this to puff you up or anything, your region is operating at such a high standard of excellence. I'm really pleased with that. And so I guess the one thing is kind of the theme that I'm working on this year is sustaining excellence. How do you sustain excellence? It's one thing to climb the hill and get to a level of excellence. What do you do when you get there? How do you sustain that? How do you build upon that and take the organization to even the next higher level of excellence? So, Colonel Wildman, I'd say perhaps that's the thing that we should all focus on, not only in North Central region, at the region level, wing, group, squadron, individual. What can we do to sustain excellence, to build upon the level upon which we are currently operating and continuously improve and get better and better at the individual level, the team level, the organization level? Thanks for asking. And for you folks, Colonel Wildman and I went through National Safety College a few years ago, and she's a wonderful contributor in CAP. So thanks for the question.
All right, thank you. The next question goes to Mr. Salvador, and this question is coming from North Central Region, Iowa 002, Captain McLaughlin. Do you see a push to change the training of ES to include more of the NCR requirements? Secondly, when would we see an updated task guide for air crews and ground teams dated from 2005?
Well, put me on the spot. Wow. So I think General Smith would say that we'll have that task guide out tomorrow. No, sorry. That's not going to happen. But as far as the NCR requirements, certainly, and I saw an earlier question regarding the updating our requirements for FEMA based on the FEMA changes and things like that. So maybe if you don't mind, I could answer both questions at the same time. So CAP is constantly looking at the changes in the requirements, and certainly with COVID-19 and some of the things that we're doing regarding our and the most recent hurricanes and earthquakes, there have been a big change in the missions that CAP is doing. Some of those things where we have more of an impact are points of distribution, where our members are helping out with distributing water, food, supplies, in this current case, test kits, and a wide variety of other things. All of those skill sets are going to become even more important in the future. So your point regarding the FEMA standards, the NCR standards, we're constantly looking at all of those types of requirements and figuring out which ones should we incorporate in future training. And that's something that takes a little bit more time than probably you'd realize. It's not something that happens overnight. And so we thoroughly consider those. We talk with our FEMA partners. We talk with our Air Force partners. And then we get those things reviewed, approved, and posted. So I apologize for the delay in the task guide. I will take that back to our Director of Operations, John Damaris, and I will ask him when we can expect to get the task guide updated. And I'll get that information back to Colonel O'Neill so that he can share it with the North Central Region staff. So Thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you. Then next question will go to Colonel Myers. And the question is, what's the state of Air Force manning for the liaison region?
Alrighty, well, the state of manning for the Air Force region, I touched on it a little bit in my liaison region presentation that was pre-recorded. But to answer that question, ask me 3 months ago what the state of manning was, and I felt like I had a pretty good handle on it. But times change, and they do so quickly, and we have been thrown into a strange dynamic of presence and participation being via this method now. And so what is the right number? That's a very, very good question going forward. I don't anticipate that this is going to be the long-term way that we do things, but we need to be able to pivot quickly and to be able to provide a response. And so, when I look at that, I look at, okay, our RODs, which are the new ADOs, which were the new state directors. So we have to change names every few years. And so regional operations directors, where do we put those? Well, for me, I see reach and presence as being very, very important in what we're doing. And so I look for a distant goal of being able to kind of split the seam down the middle of the region in the river valleys to be able to provide things like redundancy and being able to service and travel to multiple wings with a large geography. Being able to travel quickly is important. So it even goes back to the old kind of ground force example of interior lines. And so having somebody kind of down the seam of the region is, I think, important. As far as our reservists, historically we've brought in a lot of airline pilots because it's a very flying centric organization. But as priorities increase also on cadet programs and AE, possibly we might look for a better mix. And so I'm looking at folks coming out of, say, ROTC instructor jobs that are separating or retiring and would like to continue on with something like that, but not necessarily from a rated background. So as we try to get the right mix, we want folks that are going to be going to have the right motivation, but that also can be responsive as a force as we try to go out and be present and engage all across the region. And so what that looks like, it's kind of changing with 10 to 25% churn roughly on average in any given year. That's people coming in, people leaving. It really can change, and it's in flux. What does it look like? I think we could use a few more folks. We certainly can use more ADOs, some more regional ops directors. We're trying to get one located in the South region. And then I think a few more reservists of the right mix and talent to be out there at the encampments, at the summer activities, where historically it's been a challenge for airline pilots that are surging across the summer months. A better mix can provide that stability in being able to provide participants across those very, very important summer events. So what's it look like? It's always changing. It's always mixing. We want to always work for the right mix with the right motivation to be able to respond and support the CAP. That's probably an inadequate answer, but that's what I have. So thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Myers. The next question is going to go to General Smith, and this is coming from North Central Region, Missouri, Lieutenant Colonel Tudebush. And the question is, under the reopening plan, will encampments continue to be held to the 50-day go, no-go timetable?
Thanks for asking. I believe the 50-day lead time is still a good best practice for us. Now realize that the time for a wing to go from phase 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 can vary in length. And remember that phase 3, a wing has to get to phase 3 by which to start having overnight activities. So it takes a while to get from here to there so that we can safeguard the health and the well-being of our folks. The 50-day prior time frame is really set up with a couple of things in mind. It allows the stakeholders, the activity director, the leadership of the wing for a wing activity like an encampment, to take a good solid look at all the factors that would go into being able to successfully have that encampment. Maybe it's on a military facility, maybe it's on a college campus. What's the ability of the host organization to be able to still support with the use of that facility? What's it look like for folks within the wing? What phase are you in? And the 50-day prior allows you to take a good solid look at these factors and make your best guess, go, no go decision on whether or not, so that you can provide the courtesy of telling folks well in advance what to plan on, whether it's a go, whether you're going to have to cancel it, or whether you're going to try to postpone it. So realize that the timeline associated with the regeneration plan is going to vary. You can go up and down the scale depending. The 50-day prior is a good lead time that I would like wings to keep in mind for making a smart decision on what to do so that people can be notified in a timely manner. Thanks for asking.
Okay, thank you. The next question is going to be for Colonel O'Neill. And the question is, have you started selecting or maintaining North Central Region staff for us to contact?
Well, first of all, I have unmuted myself, so that's a good thing. As General Smith mentioned earlier, it's imperative that we learn to maintain the standard of excellence that we have set. And so we have been doing great things. I haven't changed the staff very much. Most of Colonel A's staff is continuing on as the North Central Region staff. There have been some changes for various reasons, but they're all designed to tweak the excellence that we've been doing up till this point. That roster will be released here in the next week, both on our website, also via email, and some other possibly innovative methods of communication of getting that out to the members. But yes, the staff has been selected as it stands right now.
Okay, thank you. We have time for one more question that will go to Colonel Myers. And this is coming from Pacific Central Region, Washington 039. First Lieutenant Glover. I recently took the role as an emergency services officer for my group in Washington. I am curious of some of the challenges you have seen that one may expect in a role functioning at the group level, supporting squadrons within the group.
Thank you for the question. This may be less useful than you're probably looking for. Groups are constructed and run differently across wings and regions, and for instance, in our region, we don't have tremendously extensive group staffs. Maybe just a handful of people, and so if I were to try to guess, I hate to say it's a guess, but where those challenges might lie, I would just say it's in first of all, the coordination between echelons above and below. How do you communicate, okay, what you have as an ES person for a function that you can reach out to and present your higher leadership from the squadrons below you? And second of all, in trying to communicate that, but also how do you train up? How do you increase your capability? How do you train up a capability? How do you grow that across multiple squadrons? Obviously you have to have buy-in from the individual squadron leadership to support what you're doing. You have to have that support from the leadership above as you try to increase that capability and take those taskings that you might get and then execute them down at the wing level. So I think it's really just kind of a vision and a coordination thing. Take what the leadership is trying to do and communicate that and transition it down to the squadrons that are within your sphere, and then getting that support from the squadrons to create that capability to then provide upward to the wing or the region. But thank you.
All right, thank you. Now we'll hand it over to Colonel A.
All right. Well, thank you to everyone who joined us for this live event and asked some great questions. We appreciate your participation very much. We'd also like to thank our panel for joining us today and give them the opportunity to make a closing comment. General Smith, do you have any closing comments, sir?
Well, thank you. Yes, and first, thanks for hosting this region and wing virtual conference with something on the order of 913 participants who have registered so far. Wow, that's truly amazing. We have learned so much with embracing the virtual part to be able to reach a broader community and engage a broader community as well. I've got some shout outs, some congratulations for some members of North Central Region. Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Atwood, Gil Rob Wilson, number 3548. Lieutenant Colonel Anna Marie Bistadu, who earned Gil Rob Wilson, number 3725. And Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Noah Enders, who just last night earned the Eaker Award number 3660 after working all day helping on the campaign trail of a candidate for office. Talk about civil engagement and civil responsibilities. You rock it. I love our cadets and I love our adult volunteers as well. Congratulations to the three of you. You epitomize, you reflect what's good about Civil Air Patrol and what's good about North Central Region. My compliments to the region, my thank you and compliments to everyone who is making this virtual conference a reality. It's not easy. There's a whole lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of paddling and, you know, the duck under the water type of thing that makes it happen. But my compliments for all of you who are helping to make this virtual conference real, and I know it will be highly successful. North Central Region, I'm very proud of you. Thank you for your amazing work. I couldn't be happier with what you're doing, how you're doing it. Colonel A has done a tremendous job. Colonel O'Neill is gone. There's not going to be a skipped step, a missed beat as you sustain that excellence. I look forward to my continued engagement in North Central Region. And one of these days, we're going to be able to enjoy getting face-to-face as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Salvador?
Well, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate the opportunity. Wow, what an amazing conference. As General Smith said, over 900. We've never had a national conference that large. So you have definitely raised or set the bar high as we get ready and prepare for our national conference that'll be coming up soon. So thanks for all the hard work and for your amazing team. Certainly, you definitely show it every day. I'll give you one example. The Aircraft Maintenance Repair and Discrepancy System, or AMRAD, North Central Region was the first region to complete all of the data inputs required. So you have set the example, you set the bar there as well, very high, and all the other regions are working hard to be able to get yours done. But congratulations to North Central Region for getting all that data in. It's really important as an example, for that particular product, we have a current ongoing situation with magnetos. And if we didn't have that system, if North Central Region didn't have all their data in, we wouldn't be able to properly manage all the aircraft fleet so that we know exactly which aircraft have been done, which aircraft require the 25-hour inspections, which aircraft require the 100-hour inspections, and those types of things. So I encourage all the other regions and wing members who are online to go ahead and reach out and achieve the same thing that North Central Region has achieved by completing all of their data entries into AMRAD. The other thing I would like to share is the fact that we're getting a lot of great coverage nationally. Fox News, General Smith is all over the news. So it's great to see his face all over the news, but we'd also like to get all of your faces all over the news. Most recently, we've had two excellent news stories, one in Colorado and one in Michigan. and all the great work that the organization is doing with COVID-19. I encourage all of you to take a look at all the different activities we're doing, not only just the operational missions, but also our cadet programs and our aerospace education missions. What are we doing with virtual meetings? How are we helping our young people be successful? And tell those stories. It's a very timely story. Talk to your local media, get it published locally, whether it be online or an actual a media story, video story. All of those things help promote the organization. And guess what? They also help us recruit members, because people say, wow, what a great organization. I would love to be a member of Civil Air Patrol. Let me get some information about that. So, by the way, we are still growing. So we're getting new members. Maybe we're not getting as many as we did when we had normal squadron meetings, but we are still growing. During the month of April, we grew by 300 members. So keep up the good work. As the rest of the command team, I get a chance to be able to drop in meetings around the country, and it really inspires me, inspires the national staff to see the exciting things our members are doing. I was joining a New York unit last evening, and they have 10 to 11 virtual meetings every single week. Those meetings involve not only the normal stuff, but also cadet promotions and training. And so they're being extremely innovative. So thank you for your dedication. Thank you for your innovative ways. Encourage you to keep it up. Thank you for you adults. Thank you for your leadership of our cadets, helping them to be successful and mentoring them to be the nation's next generation of leaders. And I'd just like to thank everyone in the meeting today. Thank you for your service to your communities, states, and nation. Thanks for the opportunity to participate today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salvador. Colonel Myers?
Yes, thank you. And I just want to say thank you to Kansas, North Central, and CAP around the world. Thanks for the opportunity to join you, not only for this conference and town hall, but also just to partner with you every day, with you and your mission as the Air Force Auxiliary. You're part of the family, and I'm blessed and I'm proud every day to see the great things that our region is doing. And I call it a family, not just because anybody in my family that can be a CAP member is a CAP member, but the response from over 900 people who wanted to take part in today's activity. That's a yearning for camaraderie and fellowship and common service that's at the heart of CAP. And finally, we're all in this together. Everybody says that, but it's true. And I really believe, CAP is going to emerge as a stronger and more resilient force. There, I believe, is going to be an increased sense of community because of this shared burden that we're going through right now. So I would just say, keep looking for opportunities amidst the disruption, opportunities like today's events and the events that we had recently in South Dakota, where I was able to chat with somebody from Tokyo the night before. Who would have imagined that 2 months ago? So there's opportunities amidst the disruption. Keep looking for those, and take care of yourselves and each other. And thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Myers. Colonel O'Neill?
Well, thank you, Colonel A. Thank you, everybody, for attending. You guys have come up with some really good questions. As has been mentioned, it's now time to pull ourselves out of this COVID hole, and that's our next big mission, is getting ourselves up and ready. Don't be afraid, or don't be scared of the map that came out from National. It's just where they see us right now, and because we're on the ground, we can actually see a little bit different picture. And that's okay. We're going to let them know what that picture is so that we can move forward. So we have a path to go. We need to come up with some plans to make sure we stay along that path, but we'll get there. So thank you very much. And I look forward to continuing with you throughout the day and through the next 4 years.
Thank you, Colonel O'Neill. So what's next? What's next on our agenda? We'll have a short break. Sessions will begin in the 7 rooms listed on the website at 11 a.m. For those who would like to receive credit for attending the conference, a link to a form is available on our conference website. Once you've participated in 5 sessions, please fill out that form. The data will flow into a spreadsheet and we'll use that to grant credit for attendance. Our conference breakout sessions, again, will begin at 11 a.m. We have some great speakers lined up and we hope you enjoy their presentations. So we'll see you in the breakout sessions.